Well, coming off that weekend, obviously not the result that I or any of the players or coaches wanted. But Oklahoma is a good team, really good team, good coaches, and they played extremely well. We didn't play as well as we would have liked. What it causes you to do is you start to look internal, and you start looking at what you're doing, how you're doing it, who you're doing it with, the messaging, how you're messaging, causes you to do everything, and we certainly are doing that. We're accountable for that, and it's led right here by me, first and foremost. And so I do know this. We have a bunch of players and coaches that are they want to make it right. They got to continue to work and to strain and to, I think, just continue to hear the message, to send the right messaging, the work, the accountability, the coaching and the teaching that we got to do. We're all in this thing together, and we all know that. That wasn't the result we wanted to begin Big 12 conference play. It wasn't the start we wanted at the beginning of the game, and we own it, and I own it as the head coach, and we're committed to moving forward. I know that, and to learning from it. And when I say moving forward, I mean you got an Oklahoma State team that's extremely talented coming in this weekend here at home. It's a chance for us to be in front of our home crowd and play in Jones Stadium. And we all know, that what that means to us and what we want to do at home. And we have to protect our home field, and we understand that that'll be a challenge. But I can't wait to watch our guys do it. And I mean that because we're all in this thing together, and I'm leading it. And, moving forward, Jet Duffy will be our quarterback moving forward. And we got to play good around him. The guys going around him got to play better. We got to play better. We got to coach better. We got to put Jet in the right positions from an individual standpoint that give us the best chance to win. This team does not revolve around one position. We all know that. We got to play better on defense. And so that's what we're committed to doing. So in saying all that, I'll go ahead and open up for any questions.
What do you see from Jet to kind of give him that opportunity to lead this team moving forward?
Yeah, I saw it in the game first, and then video confirmed it. Thought he was aggressive. Thought he made some good plays. Room for improvement, just like me and the rest of them. But I think he gives us the best chance to win.
Coach, you mentioned you reevaluate a lot of what you guys were doing after this game. Is that the same as every other game, or was it something different?
Yeah. It's a lot easier when you don't get the result you want in the way that it came about, to have a whole lot more intense and focused. But yes, we do. Absolutely. We do after wins. Yeah.
Coach, you're big on preparation throughout the week in practice, and it was kind of different from the players through previous coaching staffs. How do you feel like they're adjusting to the way you have to prepare each week going into the game?
Well, I think I'm not sure what they've been exposed to before, but I think the preparation is something that I think is essential to your performance on Saturday. The way you prepare, the way you go about your week, organizing your week. I think that it's all reflective on Saturday, and how you prepare, how you practice, the discipline and the accountability in your life. I try to preach it first and foremost to myself and make sure I'm doing that during the week, but I think it's an essential component of winning games on Saturday is your preparation. So it's a great question, and I think that's so important.
Why is it so important to name that starting quarterback and get Jet those reps consistently with the ones in practice?
Say that. I didn't hear you at the beginning.
Why is it so important to name that starting quarterback and get Jet maybe some of those reps in practice with the ones? Is that one of the important things, having a guy having that starter?
Yeah, I mean, contrast it to last week, and we were still deciding. I've decided he's going to be our starter moving forward. He'll get all the reps with the ones, and the guys around him. In terms of receivers and the running backs, we rotate them in pretty frequently, but it's really the five guys in front of him and him going with the ones together. So, yeah, it's important.
Where do you want to see improvement from Jet this week?
Taking the play to the signal, to the call, consistency. He can be better at that. We can be better at that for him. And just in terms of what we're trying to do in the passing game, which some of that will change because you got a new opponent with new schemes in the back end.
And based on Saturday and now, how bought in are the rest of the players to Jet?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them. But I think, the message too is we're bought in us. This is we, us, and our, and how we're doing things. Our core values, our plan to win, our preparation, going back to your question, Cass. I mean, that's us. It's a quarterback's job to elevate the other 10 guys around him, whether you're the guy that started the year or not. That's his job, and to play well and to do that. But it's the guys around him. It's their job that they're preparing and they're playing to their best because that helps him play better, the guys around him. So it's not everybody's job around him. It's his job. It's our job.
Coach, you mentioned the defense needed to have a better effort against Oklahoma. Is that top of the list tackling with the amount of missed tackles that you guys had?
I think there were certainly a few missed tackles, and let's credit them. I mean, they've got really good skill guys, really good, some of the best in the country. I would have liked us to tackle better. There were certainly a lot of yards after contact that we can improve on, but we're going to go. When I talk about improvement, it's not just the effort. Your effort. I think maybe you meant more the outcome. We all want that better outcome. The effort to the ball at times was really, really good. There's other times it wasn't, not to our level, but that's evident in wins as well. But it's alignment, assignment, and then tackling. Certainly when you don't tackle well against an elite skill team like Oklahoma, they'll make you pay a lot quicker. As was the case.
Chuba Hubbard, the nation leading rusher coming in now. What makes a guy like that so dynamic and electric?
He's patient. I like what they're doing on offense with him, and I haven't seen it all as of right now. I mean, just trying to go through 3 phases quickly. But he's patient. They do a lot of schemes where he's able to read, and then he's strong and physical. And, 180-some yards rushing a game or whatever that number is. I mean, he's a talented young man, and certainly a big challenge for our defense.
And how much does going up against a guy like CeeDee Lamb now prepare you going up against a guy like Tylan Wallace, another one of the most talented receivers?
Very similar. Elite, 2 of the best in this league, CD and Wallace. Every time they touch the ball, they got home run speed. They got home run ability. They can make you pay if you don't tackle well, and making plays on the ball becomes paramount when you play elite talent like that, and those 2 guys are.
You mentioned a moment ago when you were asked how Jet can improve, you mentioned getting the signal and getting the call, getting the signal. So you're talking primarily about pre-snap.
Some pre-snap, some post-snap. Yeah, I think he's no different, Don, than a lot of our other guys. We've got guys up front that we made mistakes as coaches pre-snap. We had O-linemen making snaps, calls pre-snap again. Whether that's a verbal call, it's a first step. Jet definitely is no different. His first step on drops can be cleaner and better. His decision-making off the pulls can be better, to throw the screen or to not throw the screen. But I was mentioning that it's not just post-snap. There's room for improvement for that young man, and hopefully that'll come with increased reps this week, and then he'll be better next week after this week.
Considering tempo is a big component of your offense, to what extent then does that inhibit what you want to do and what you would like to do?
What? Actually, it's harder. The faster you go, the harder it is. I mean, you got to see a signal fast, and you got to see a lot of signals and a lot of things faster. So when you slow it down, you ought to be a little bit better.
Did it help you guys later in the game? It seemed like, I don't know if you were trying to get the defense rest, but you guys would do tempo, hurry up to line, and then stand on it a little bit instead of just immediately snapping. What was the thought process behind that? Was that just to get the defense rest?
We actually started the first series of the game. Yeah. I think it was a planned component to tried to reduce the amount of snaps that Jalen Hurts was going to play, and that worked. Now, the flip side of it is when you don't get first downs and you don't get explosives on offense, does it matter if you're going fast or you're slowing it down? It doesn't, because you're putting the ball right back in their hands. 17 seconds off the clock or a minute and 30 off the clock. I mean, not that. We got to play better on offense. And whether it was slowing it down or it's playing fast, and whatever our plan is moving forward will be absolutely, in my opinion, we will do everything that we can to allow our offense and our defense, our team, okay, the best chance. That was our opinion going into the game against Jalen because of the kind of weapon he was, and we didn't play good enough on offense for that plan to even come to fruition. But it did. I mean, 13 possessions. I think they had 13. Took a knee on one.
What do you see when you look at the Oklahoma State defense?
Multiple coverages in secondary, talented skill kids. I see a lot of D linemen that are fresh up front because they play a lot of guys up front. But they're dynamic and unique in terms of their scheme on defense and create a lot of issues, create a lot of, I think, confusion for receivers or quarterbacks. And so what do we got to do for our guys to give them the best possible, opportunity to play well? But they do a great job of disguising a lot of stuff in the back end with the 5 DBs.
Does that mean the offensive line needs to elevate their play even more with those fresh defensive linemen?
We all do. Yeah, not just, we all do. We all do.
Can you use that tempo to benefit your defense as well, to avoid getting as many fresh defensive linemen in there to, get up to the line fast, down sub? Is that part of that as well?
It is. If you're making first downs and explosives, it works beautiful. What my point was kind of going back is if you don't make first downs and explosives, it doesn't matter what you're doing, guys. Let's be real. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing in terms of fast as you can go, okay, or slowing it down.
California implementing a law to allow athletes to get paid from endorsements. I just wanted to get your thought on that. It was just signed a few days ago.
Man, has it come down through the NCAA yet? No, it hasn't. Honestly, I've seen it. I've heard it. There's a difference between listening and hearing. Listening, you have an intent to learn and actively. Until that comes down, I know about it. I don't have a great comment for you because I'm trying to get ready for Oklahoma last week when that came out in Oklahoma State. I'm not trying to dodge it one bit. If it becomes something that we're all in, I'll have a good view on it. But until then, I really don't know a whole lot about it.
Now you have a small sample size on Spencer Sanders, but what are your thoughts on him at quarterback so far this year?
Guy gives you a chance to win. He's dynamic. Pocket breaks down. He's dynamic. You got to have eyes on him, and I'm just plays break down, man. That makes you a better play caller because he can really hurt you. He's accurate with the football. Redshirt freshman, young kid. I think he's got a bright future. Bright future.
Move forward as a defensive unit when you're still trying to address things like proper tackling technique and cutting down on this tackle.
It's coaching. It's coaching, man. We do it every week. Every team in the country does it. You address things constantly, alignment, assignment, preparation throughout the week. You're tackling your fundamentals. We don't quit tackling because it's game 5. We're going to go tackle tomorrow and Wednesday, whether we would have won or lost. I mean, when you say how do you address it, I just say consistently.
Coach, when you step back and look at Jett Duffy, what do you see as his strengths that you look to enhance on Saturday?
Similar to what I was just mentioning about Sanders. When he pulls it down, he can run. He is a dual threat. He can able to escape. He throws the ball well when he throws it on time. He's got to continue to, as he learns this week's game plan and what we're doing, and he gains confidence in it. The more you know, the more confident, then your talent comes out, and I think it's a lot more efficient. And Jett's care factor is high, and I respect that, and I appreciate that. But I think he does have some talent.
During the season, where do you see which position group has made the most improvement from the beginning of the season?
Which position groups have made the most improvement since the start of the season? I think our tight ends have played well. Our H's, our inside guys, Rigdon, Mannix, Dante Thompson. I've seen them improve. I've seen Xavier Benson improve a lot. It's a young redshirt freshman outside backer, kind of playing to the field and to the boundary. I've seen Des Smith improve. There's a guy that I respect as a senior. He didn't start the first game or two. He got benched out of the nickel personnel group. Never gave up, never gave in. Got prepared and played very well against Oklahoma. Guy's got a great sack if we do what we're supposed to on the backside of it. The phenomenal effort to even chase down the quarterback. Those are some guys that come to mind. Another one, because of the unknown, that I have mentioned a couple times here, is just the kickers and the specialists, and that's an improvement because it came from an unknown. Just had no idea because of their game experience, and they've all held up and done well.
How do you maximize Jet's big playability while also telling him, hey, you don't have to make every throw if it's not there? Hey, remember, tuck the ball.
It's a learned skill and a developed skill that, you know, when something's breaking down, that you can throw it in the third row of the stands and live to play another down versus I'm going to scramble and make what I can. There's time and a place for both.
Got time for about 2 more.
Matt, on Saturday, was anything wrong with Armand Shine later in the game, or did you just stick with Sir Roderick more because you liked what you were seeing from him?
Probably a little bit of both. Armand kind of went down with an ankle. He kind of tweaked it. Sir Roderick was kind of hot and doing well. So it's kind of a combination of both. He's day to day. What was the D&D? Where were we at? Let's talk about them specifically. 4th and 6 on the 6. Percentages of converting that aren't very good. Whether it's me, my gut, my analytics, everything says kick it. I could have thrown it in. At least another shot. It's just, which ones are they? There's times that you went for it on 4th and short a couple times. Knowing that you had to have touchdowns. Where were you exactly in the game on one of the one field goal? I'm not sure there was enough possessions, even if they were touchdowns left in the ball game. And it was a down and distance that's would have been a lot harder to. It wasn't 4th and short. So I think each one of them carry a story or a decision in its own. And I'm certainly open to being asked about each one of them. I get all that, but you make the decisions as you go between a gut and analytics, as well as the scoreboard and the situation of where you're at in the game.
You mentioned last week that Xavier Martin would be the emergency quarterback. Is he going to stay with the quarterback group and work with them the rest of the year?
Yeah, for right now. Yeah, yes, sir.
When you look at your offensive line, what can you do as coaches, or how do you talk with them or work with them to get them to improve and as you say, play better, not necessarily play harder?
I think it's, Chuck, I think it's daily fundamentals as well as communication. How you're communicating, how you're targeted, how you're ID'd. One guy's off that looks bad. We all know that, right, with O-line play, because you got to play in unison. It's also, when you face an extremely talented D-line, similar to my question about tackling, they can expose you real quick when you're off with a footwork or a step or a fundamental. So I think you got to go back to the basics, and you got to have both of those for an O-line.
Has that been a little bit of a surprise for you, that's been a little bit off?
No, because I would hesitate to call it a surprise. I wish we'd have played better on the O-line. I wish I'd have coached better. Saturday was tough all the way around, not just on one position group.
Zach, I guess from a defensive perspective, I guess what did y'all learn from that Oklahoma game?
Just overall to probably stay consistent. We looked at the film today. I mean, it's some good, it's bad. It just didn't work out too well for us. I mean, we're gonna go out there today, make the corrections, do what we gotta do to get better, and just stay positive and move on to this week.
What was some of the good in the film?
It was a few plays. I mean, Tommy Leggett had a couple good plays. Just a lot of effort things. Not really, I want to say from a scheme perspective, but just a bunch of good effort plays that some guys on the defense made. I mean, it just got to be more everybody doing it.
The single most frustrating thing that stood out on the tape when you watched it today?
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, I just know that we didn't play to the standard that we want to play at. We hold ourselves to a higher standard, and that's just not the brand of football that we represent. And we got to do better.
What do you see from Oklahoma State and a guy like Tylan Wallace and Spencer Sanders, dual threat QB? What kind of problems do they kind of potentially have for you guys this Saturday?
Well, obviously at QB, I mean, we've been seeing it a lot for these past few weeks, a QB that can throw and run. So, I mean, I feel like we're ready for it in an aspect, but, on the outside, in the secondary, we just got to challenge their receivers, not give them anything free, play every play with a chip on our shoulder.
With a guy like Tylan Wallace coming one of the best receivers in the nation, the Big 12, how nice was it at least to see a guy of his caliber and CeeDee Lamb last week, so you have some sort of reference point of?
I mean, it was good. I mean, going against him, he's a great player. I mean, going against Tyler, we just gotta, like I said, just challenge him. He's a good receiver. He's well respected throughout the league. But I mean, we got to make him earn everything.
When it comes to improving your tackling, is it just a mindset? Is it just reps kind of thing? How do you do that?
Yeah, tackling is just a mindset. That's all it is. Just, in the moment, you just got to have the willpower to do it. It's either your mind's made up or not. But that's all tackling is. Tackling could be taught in some ways, but when you're out there, it's just a mindset. You got to want to get the ball carried to the ground.
So when you kind of look at Oklahoma State, at least the small amount that you guys have looked at so far, I guess what kind of stands out to you in terms of their offense, in terms of the big play hitters they got?
They have a great running game, obviously, but I would say overall just probably their run game, just trying to stop their run game and make them pass the ball. They're going to try to beat us and run the ball for the most part, but we just got to go out there, stop the run game, and then they're going to want to pass the ball and then stop that and then shut the offense down.
Who does Chuba compare to anyone you guys have played so far?
Yeah, probably Oklahoma. I mean, in a way, they're pretty similar.
So what can you take from this game as far as how Oklahoma running the ball versus how Oklahoma State's going to use Chuba and how they're going to run against you guys?
Well, Oklahoma, they really like to try to hit us with the stretch in the boundary. And we feel like Oklahoma State's going to try to do the same thing. We got hit on that against Arizona, too. And teams probably look at it as a weakness in our defense, but we're going to focus a lot on that this week just to stop the stretch in the boundary.
Are you a big flush it kind of guy right after a game where you lose by 30 or 40, or do you let it motivate you a little bit?
Well, yeah, right after the game, I'm probably be pretty frustrated. It sits on my mind for a while, but after a while, you got to get over it. Focus on the next week. Just in my position, that's the mindset of a DB. You can't let stuff sit on your mind too long or it's going to keep on happening. Just got to play the next play and move on.
Terrence, I guess when did you finally know that you were going to come back, and what were your feelings?
I knew in the summer when I was coming back. We already have a plan in place. We have good depth at the offensive line position, so I was able to take those first 2 games off and really take my time in recovery.
I guess, were you frustrated during that time of recovery, or did you kind of feel a little bit better knowing that was part of the plan?
Oh, no, I felt confident, from the very first day it happened. We have a great, strength staff and sports medicine staff, so, just the plan they had in place, I had full confidence in, and I knew I was going to get back on the field.
How did you get hurt?
It was a freak accident that happened in the weight room.
How would you grade the offensive line's play through this portion of the season?
It's definitely not where we want to be, but best believe every week we're working our tails off to be the O-line that we know we can be.
Where do you feel like the O-line can improve the most?
After watching the film this past game, it's pretty obvious we need to pass protect better. And, we need to be more consistent in the run game. I feel like we made strides in the run games. Just like I said, we need to be more consistent with that.
Terrence, obviously Oklahoma State's offense is going to get a lot of the headlines, but what stood out about their defense, I guess specifically about the defensive line?
They were always, flying around to the ball. They gave great effort. They was relentless in their pursuit. So.
How bought in are you guys to Jack now being the starter?
Jack Anderson?
Jack, sorry, Jack.
Oh, Jet, I'm sorry, yeah. For the O-line, it doesn't matter who you put back there, really. It doesn't really affect our job. We still got to go out there and perform, protect whoever it is back there. And I'm kind of excited to have him back there. Just watch how he's a baller. He'll make plays. Dude's a competitive athlete, so it'll be exciting.
Where have you seen, has he kind of stepped up as a leader, like more, not even just Saturday, but after that?
Jet? Yeah. Of course, that's just the type of guy he is, He's always, go in the locker room, he's always dapping people up, making jokes, just, talking to people, and that's just the kind of person he is. So.
Could you feel a different type of spark in the huddle or in the way that y'all played as an offense when he came into the game?
Yeah, I can say so. That's just the kind of energy he brings to us. We kind of feed off his energy, and I could definitely say we felt that spark.
For you, are you after a game like Oklahoma where it was like 30 or 40, are you a kind of flush it guy, or do you let it motivate you?
I definitely let it motivate me. You kind of let it sink in. For me, I went home, kind of remembering my why I pretty much play this game, and just pretty much learn from your mistakes and let it motivate you to be better next week.
What is your why?
Me, I do it for my family. They've been through a lot. If you know about just what they've been through, I just want to repay them from everything they did, and football is a means for me to do that.
Terrence, at any point did you think you weren't going to come back from your injury, and how tough was that to, like you said, if it's a freak injury, obviously you're kind of a little bit upset.
Mm-hmm. There's always that, small voice in the back of your head, is that what if. I try not to let that, come out as much. It's better to have a positive attitude. Your body responds to that. So I really pretty much kept a positive mindset. I told myself I was going to come back, and I did.
Do you think the injury and then just the lack of consistency maybe along the line, the constant movement has been part of your issue as a team, and that might be improving as you get more reps and more games under your belt?
Oh, for sure. That first game, I'll be the first to say it wasn't my best. I had to knock some of that rust off. This past game, I made improvements from the first game, but it still wasn't what my potential can be. So, yeah, just best believe I'm working my butt off every day, to improve, be better for this team.
So when you first got hurt, what were you told about when you were expected to return? Was it about the expected timeline, or?
No, I was definitely way ahead of schedule. When it first happened, it was about 4 to 6 months. Just let my body heal pretty much. But like I said, we got a great strength staff and the sports medicine staff, and they got me back to being 100% pretty quick.
I remember Coach Wells said at the start of summer, so was that like in June? June when he got hurt?
Yes, in June.
Anything else?
How have you handled, just with you and Travis going right or left, how have you handled being back where you were?
I think we both handled it pretty well. It's great draft stock to be able to switch from left to right, and You know, we practice left and right tackles, movements every day in practice, so it is really nothing serious.
Do a little bit on the left side now, even in practice.
Yeah, like do drills. I'll get in my left tackle stance and do some drills with that. And Bruff will do the same with the right.